G'day guys, Casey here from Lured In Fishing. Today I would like to show you one of my absolute favourite knots ever, the FG knot. It is the ultimate connection between a braided line and a leader line. So it is super fine, has very good knot strength, casts like an absolute champion, and you can use it from any leader size. So leaders from 3 or 4 pound right the way up to 150, 200 pound. So in this instance, this yellow line here, this is going to be my leader line. Now, I've actually got this tucked under my leg so that I can keep this nice and tight. You can also do this by putting the spool in between your knees or sitting on it. You can tie it off on something just so we can keep that line nice and tight. So then our braided line, this white line here, in this instance, is some 20 pound. Now when tying this for the first time or the first few times, would highly recommend using a lighter braid and a heavier leader. It is much easier to tie it using those lines and getting the feel for it, how it all works, than using a light leader and a heavy braid. It tends to work against you a little bit. So to start off, what I'm going to do, there's a few different ways you can do this, but this is one that I like to use because you can kind of do it anywhere. I'm going to get our tag end or our open end of braided line. This is coming off the rod or the reel. I'm going to pinch that against my thumb there, and I'm going to wrap around my thumb 3 times. I'm then going to wrap around my index finger 1, 2, 3. I'm then going to wrap around my middle finger 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that locks this line. So we're actually going to be tying with this part here. My thumb and my finger here are going to adjust how much tension is on this line. Now, really common thing that people tend to mess up with an FG knot is they try and tie them way too tight. It's actually easier to tie them a little bit loose and pulling them all down tight once we're finished. It'll still come up really nice, really simple. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with our braided line here. We're going to get our leader. We're going to start on the inside. So between the braid and my hand there. We're going to go this side first, top side, under, back to the middle. We're then going to pull down a little bit. So I'm pulling my left hand upwards, which is creating a bit of a V in the braided line there. I'm going to do the same on the other side, so under to the middle. Now, because I'm pulling down, it's going to make sure that knot is forming from bottom to top. We don't want it to go the other way. So once again, repeating the process, index finger to the middle, thumb under to the middle. We're just going to keep on continuing that until we have our desired length. Now a lot of people will say you got to do it 20 times, 30 times. I just go generally around 2-3 centimeters long. The heavier the line, the bigger the knot. The lighter the line, the smaller the knot. So a little 6 pound might only be the size of your fingernail. So just continuing under to the middle. We go under to the middle, under to the middle, keeping a reasonable amount of pressure on it, nothing too crazy though. Just continuing that over and over again. Should see that knot forming really neat and nicely there. Under, middle, under, middle. Once we've reached our desired length, which that's it there, I'm then going to pinch it at the top and I'm going to slip that braid off my fingers. Now, you'll be able to see we have our FG knot just there. So some really nice, neat wraps. We have our tag end of braid, we have our tag end of leader, and our main line of braid. What we're going to do now is grab our main line of braid and our tag end of leader and hold them together nice and tight. Then going to get our tag end of braided line, and we're going to do a simple half hitch. So we're going to make a loop, and we're going to go underneath, through the loop, pull that down all the way to our FG knot there. That is going to lock everything off, so nothing's going to come undone now. We can let go of it, you can readjust, you can do as you please. So we're going to then repeat that again. So we're going to do a half hitch, underneath, pull it down. Once I've done those two, I'm going to grab my leader, I'm going to grab my braided line, and I'm going to pull that knot really nice and tight. You'll actually see it change colour a little bit. It'll go semi-translucent. That's how you know that that braided line has really bitten in, grabbed onto that leader. Now, everyone finishes these off a little bit different. I've done quite a few tests on it. I find the more half hitches you do, the more pressure you're putting on that line, the more you're chafing it and wearing it out. So I actually find less is more in this scenario. So I've done my 2 over my braid and my leader. Now what I will normally do now, in my leaders above 20 pound is what they call a rizzuto finish, which is really, really neat, nice way to finish a knot. In my leaders below 20 pound, I will do 2 more half hitches on the braided line and then a simple double hitch to finish it off. For this knot, using heavier than 20 pound, I'm going to do what they call the rizzuto finish. So we're going to, with our braid tag, make a loop. We're going to go through that loop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. We're then going to, with our braid tag, hold that against the knot there. Now the trick here is we have these wraps going this way around the line. We're then going to grab this loop of line. We're going to backtrack, so we're going to go the other way, which is going to undo a wrap at the top and relay a wrap at the bottom. So we're going to have to do that 5 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once we've done our 5, just going to hold my finger there, grab our tag end of braided line, gently pull that tag through, making sure you lubricate this before you pull it down. I'm going to pull that down nice and tight. Now what the rizzuto does, whips the tag end of braid underneath that rizzuto knot. That way, never going to come undone while you're casting. Then trim up our braid tag. Now be mindful, it's not actually essential to cut this too short. Braid's very soft and supple. That knocking through your guides, you're not going to feel it at all. Having it a little bit longer is actually going to allow a little bit of play. If that does start to work its way undone, especially casting really, really big lures, heavy leader, you can leave that a little bit longer, you're not even going to know about it. Our leader tag, on the other hand, we're going to cut very, very fine, very close to our knot there. So, now that we've done so, I'm then going to do final little step, which is using a lighter. I'm just going to butt the end of that leader tag there. So, be very careful when you're doing this. Hide the knot and your braided line underneath your thumb and your index finger, so you just have that tiny little stub hanging out the end. Get your lighter, light it first, and bring the lighter to the line. Just at the bottom, ever so gently, just like that. We've just stubbed that down just a little bit, tap it with your finger. That way, even less chance of that knot pulling through. And that there is your FG knot with a rizzuto finish.